Okay, it's 5:01. Sorry about that. It's 14 January 2020. Welcome to the new year. This is a Tuesday night Zoom session that will go for 8 weeks. This is for LDR 300. LDR 300 is your foundational leadership course, and that's what we're going to talk to tonight. So far, I don't see anybody dialing in. Again, that's fine. This is an option for you. This is an opportunity for you to spend a little extra time in case you want it. And it is certainly not mandatory. So let's take a couple of things here, or look at a couple of things. First is on the Zoom session, I will go ahead and cover some material, just some things that I can think of. And then if somebody joins, predominantly I like to have them ask questions. But as I scroll down here, you'll see, this is your Moodle page, of course. You'll see announcements. Make sure you check those for every weekly assignment, and then follow up and occasional things that I'll put out. But anyway, as we come on down, there's some more information. There's a letter from me, some information, the syllabus, which many of you have looked at. Some of you are still coming on, and I appreciate that. But right here, weekly office hour Zoom sessions, shared video files is set up as a discussion forum. No discussion from you required. What will happen is as you click on this, as the weeks go by, you'll see where I have uploaded each of these Zoom session videos. And what will happen is I will link these videos into YouTube predominantly. Sometimes I will put the file directly into Moodle, but I tend to like to go to YouTube instead. Anyway, that gives you the opportunity to go back and view it at your convenience. Okay? I will have a Thursday Zoom session as well, but that is going to be focused on my other class, which is the LDR. LDR. Help me out here, folks. What else am I teaching? It should be LDR 360, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on here. Which is the leadership through innovation. Yes, thank you. LDR 360. Okay. Let me get that out of your way. Anyway, so Thursday I will be here, but if you're not in my LDR 360, I'm going to ask that you perhaps not dial in unless it's an emergency. Certainly, if it's an emergency, do whenever you want. Okay. All right. So here on the LDR 300 page, the first thing I'll show you is your text, 7th edition DAFT text. It's a superb textbook. Very easy to read. It contains a lot of good material. It covers everything that you could possibly think of as far as general leadership principles, theories, models, and the like. It is about an inch deep, and I'm using that as a figurative, not a literal. But it's very broad ranged, and it just basically touches on certain things. And so in order to get better at it, certainly as an introductory test, it's superb. I would really recommend that you hold on to this text and keep it for life, really. I mean, there's certain undergraduate textbooks that I think you should keep. I've done that and have gone back and referred to some on occasions, even to this day. As an example, as an undergraduate, I had a class on logic, and we covered a lot of statistical work. And the instructor in the course actually wrote the book for the course. So how's that for a setup? You make your students buy your book. But anyway, it was a superb textbook. It was called How to Lie with Statistics. And it was superb because it actually gave you some real world examples of how what not to do with statistical modeling, which really helped, I think, in large measure, for us to understand how the models work. Okay, excuse me just a second, I got to take a drink here. Not scotch, it's Coke. Long day. Stayed up too late watching the game. Anyway, so that's why I say on here, make sure that you read, make sure you notate, meaning take notes, to look at things and then go back and go more in depth into it using other sources. Highlight specific phrases, jump out statements, very declarative statements. You will see again, I assure you, if not on the quizzes and certain things that I'll make you do. And hold on to the text, because I'll be honest with you, your LDR 340 class on case studies is very critical for this class or for this textbook, because in there you're going to go ahead and pull out articles from the Wall Street Journal predominantly, and mostly present day examples of what's going on, and then apply leadership principles that you learn from this class. Okay, don't just go through this class and then jettison everything that you read. Okay, this is designed to give you a foundation to build upon, not one of these courses that, hey, I'll just go through, get my passing grade, and then I'll forget about the rest of my life. I assure you, you're going to want to keep this and that you're going to use it again. Okay, so enough preaching on that. As we go through Moodle, and I'm scrolling down now, you're going to find that there's a variety of resources available to you. Guidelines for discussion boards is good stuff. Understanding Turnitin, which is a mechanism by which you will turn in your final paper. And then there are some other things to include APA resources. Generally speaking, I want you to follow APA. I'm not an English major. I'm not teaching a literature course. We're not learning how to write in this course. To a degree, you should already know how to do that. I certainly recommend everybody take advantage of the Writing Center and get better at it. With that said, there are certain things that you need to be able to do. And communicating effectively in spoken and written form is one of those things. The crux of the issue is knowing how to write. And the only way you get better at it is by doing it. Okay? The key to it all, finding that position statement, finding that thesis statement that you are going to stake your position and announce to your reader where you're taking him or her as they read through your paper is tantamount to success. An inability to make a position statement, an inability to provide a thesis statement is a recipe for disaster. And so these are things that your instructors will help you out with as much as possible. I am here to grade your leadership knowledge. Every product you turn in, every assignment you have, every quiz that you take, these are all designed to allow us to see how much you've retained of the objectives of the course. When you go into syllabus, you will see what the course objectives are. Okay? Now, we would be remiss if we didn't check it, all right? You don't tell somebody what the objectives are and then don't check their knowledge. So I'm not here to grade your English on your paper. I'm here to grade how well you retain the knowledge that you've gotten or gained from this class. That said, certain things are going to get graded down. Okay? If you have a lot of misspellings, improper word use, grammatical errors, an inability to construct a paragraph, an inability to transition, inability to follow simple instructions like font, double spacing, pitch. These are all things that are required. Okay, part of this is you're learning how to conform with expectations, or certainly follow instructions. Okay. From there, so if certain things jump out at me, you know it's bad if I catch it, and I will, and I'll mark it. When you spell check your paper, and you should, go back and proofread your paper. In Microsoft spell check, we'll only see if you've spelled a word wrong or had the proper grammar use or whatnot. Okay. There are times where you will spell a word correctly, but it will be the wrong word to use, what is called typically a homophone. Okay? So spell check and then proofread. Don't turn in something that you're not at least can accept the grade for. Okay? You get one shot at these things. And so do the best you can. As you go through your instruction, as you go through the weekly assignments, these are opportunities for you to practice. And you and I will come to know each other. You'll see what I am looking for. I'll see what you're capable of. Okay? I will give you feedback. And so there shouldn't be any surprises. Okay? Certainly don't like surprises, and I don't plan to have it. All right. Anyway. So in your syllabus, and I'll hold it up to the camera here, okay, you will see that on page 2 is course objectives, okay? So go in and make sure that when you accept the syllabus, you go in there and you understand the 7 objectives. Demonstrate an understanding of principles by being able to summarize and explain the concepts. Identify and discuss organizational problems. Practice methods using real life examples. I don't think we're going to get too heavily into an outline and employee development plan. In the CV class, we probably could. That doesn't mean you can't work on it, and I would recommend you do it. What are we talking about here? Well, during your weekly assignments, you're going to be given an opportunity to work through some of these self-insight exercises. There's a variety of them in your text. There's about 3 per chapter, except I think chapter 4 has maybe 5. Anyway, 3 to 5 self-insight exercises for you to do per chapter. Don't just take the exercise. Take the exercise and then apply that leadership principle that pertains to that exercise, which you've covered in that particular chapter, to make sure you understand it. And certainly, since they're self-insight, it's designed, you understand who you are. And that's very important because this is the time for you to develop who you are as a leader. But take it a step further, okay? Don't just focus on what this allows you to do to and for yourself, but also think through how this self-insight can be used by you with your subordinates. Is this something you can take in to your work site? Is this something you can take into your organization, whatever it is? I tend to say work site because that's what I'm mostly used to. But these principles, these theories, is leadership, which is used throughout your life. So it isn't just workplace. This is also things that you use at home with family. These are things that you use at church, whatever nonprofit, volunteer organizations you participate in, Little League coaching, the athletic field. I mean, the sky is the limit here for you. Because what this is an opportunity to get to know who you are and then get to a level of understanding using proven science, certain techniques, and then that becomes part of your tool bag, if you will. Okay, if you had a standard tool bag that had a wood saw, a claw hammer, and a Phillips head screwdriver, you could do some basic work, okay? It may not be pretty, but you could get some things done. But you might have an occasion where you need a crescent wrench, okay? And to have that in your tool bag for use in that situation makes life certainly simpler. So using that analogy, do that for your leadership class. Learn these models, learn these principles, have an understanding. I don't necessarily want you to memorize them and commit them to memory to the degree that you could spout them out chapter and verse, although that would be phenomenal. But certainly have an understanding so that when you tell me Fiedler's contingency model or Herzberg's two-factor theory or LMX, leader-member exchange, that you have an understanding of what you're talking about. And because I know what I've read, and when you say one of those terms, or path goal theory, I'm presuming you're using the terminology and the system or the setup that that's in the DAP text. Okay. All right. So as you scroll down more in Moodle here, you'll see week 1. January 13th to the 19th. Yep. Okay. So we started yesterday. And we have the acceptance of the syllabus. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. And okay. So got a couple more added. So far have had, oh, good. Not too bad. A good portion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So probably about half the class so far. So that's good. Okay. And then we have the discussion forum. So every week I will post 2 questions, probably on Friday the week prior. It'll go into the forum right here where you see it. It'll also go through the announcements, which generates an email that you get. Okay. Answer the questions using the guidelines that I've given you. I don't grade by page count or words. If you can make your point in a page and in 100 words, then that's fine. Do that. I don't think you can because nobody's that good at brevity. But certainly brevity is the soul of wit. If it takes you 20 pages and 3,000 words or similar, then do that if that's what it takes to make your point. Just don't go into god-awful detail that isn't needed, all right? Assume that I have looked at your textbook. Assume that when you have a question that says, why is leadership considered both an art and a science? And it says, what does your text say about it? Then I've seen that. Okay? So you don't have to resurrect or reconnect or draw out the painful dots and build me a watch, using a metaphor, of your answer. Okay? You don't have to give the whole history. Assume I know something about it. That said, use enough that shows me you know what you're talking about, okay? And again, we'll figure this out as time goes on. But what I'm really looking for from you is an ability to take these questions, use some of what you've learned in the LDR text as a basis of your response. Use that in your response so that I know you're looking at it. And then take it from there and what that means to you and how you view it. Okay, what, in your view, is the difference, okay? Anyway, so you're going to post the answers to these discussion forums, your response, no later than Wednesday night, 23:59 military time or 11:59 p.m. Then you're also to respond to 2 others. You have some more time on that. You can take up until Friday night to respond to 2 other students. And I'm going to ask that you get away from the, hey, I completely agree type of postings. Try to interject your analysis on that student's post. Okay, make it meaningful and on point. If they're using a particular principle theory, reinforce what they've done or indicate to them where they might have used something else, okay? In other words, try to help teach the class, okay? Because that'll be the best way to learn. All right. From there, you have your self-reflective summary reports. So I've posted for week 1, you're going to do self-insight exercise 1.3 and self-insight 2.2. Very easy, doesn't take you a long time, very informative. I think you'll find them a lot of fun. Can you do all the other self-insights in those chapters? You betcha. You do as many as you want. I'd like to do them all. But on your summary reports, all I need you to do is submit those 2. Okay, here's something to understand on these submissions. Your final paper that's due in week 8 is going to take a lot of the information that you put in these summary reports every week. Okay, so the time that you're spending now on these self-reflective summary reports is time well spent, because come week 8, you're going to rely heavily on these to help write your final paper. Okay? All right. Anyway, with that said, the summary reports summarize the results of the exercise. Don't regurgitate the whole thing. I've seen the exercise. Just a real brief synopsis. How the results apply to that concept that was presented in the text. How will it enhance your ability to lead others, and how will it help you create value in your own career? Okay? If you disagree with the findings of that exercise, that's fine too. Just be prepared to discuss what you disagree with and why. Okay? What I want to see is hopefully the results that you get in these exercises inform you as to you. Sometimes we don't like what is said about us. Okay, then let's be prepared to talk about it. But otherwise, if the results don't match your view of yourself based on what you've learned in this course, then let's talk it out. Otherwise, let's see what we learn about each other. Okay. Once you have these completed, these you're going to turn in no later than 23:59, 11:59 p.m. Saturday. Okay? So you're going to do your discussion forum questions Wednesday night. You're going to respond to 2 others no later than Friday night. Have these uploaded no later than Saturday night. And then the quiz. Okay? Each quiz will cover those chapters for that week. They will not be cumulative. And so the quiz for next week, for example, will only cover chapters 3 and 4. Okay? Quiz this week. The quiz will open tomorrow at noon. You will have until Sunday at 1500, which is 3 o'clock p.m., in order to take the final. Don't miss these dates and times. Okay? These are done for a reason. Okay? Part of it is to facilitate discussion and review. Part of it is to allow me to grade and give feedback. Okay? But in the end, you're going to get 3 opportunities every week to demonstrate knowledge. You demonstrate it in the discussion forum, which is worth 10% of your grade. You'll demonstrate knowledge in your self-reflective summary reports, which compile together result in 30% of your grade. And you'll do it in a weekly quiz, which is, when all are done, again, 30% of your grade. So each week you're building, what does that come out to? 30, 60, 70% of your work. Okay, and what that leaves is 30% for your final paper. So you can see that you're going to have a lot of opportunities to gain points, but you're going to also find if you miss something, it's going to hurt you, and it's going to be very difficult to make up. Okay. All right. Your quizzes. Your quizzes are timed. You only get one shot. So make sure you take your quiz when you know that you're not going to be interrupted. Okay. The quizzes have not been written yet. I'm still writing them, but generally they're going to be about. They'll take you about 30 minutes to do it. If you have not read the text, it's going to take you a lot longer than 30 minutes. Okay, make sure you read the text. You may use whatever notes you have. You may use the Zoom sessions. You may use the PowerPoint slides that I provide. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mention that to you. But at each week, I provide you PowerPoint slides for those chapters. And then your text. You can use all of that, have that as an open resource to you as you take the quiz. So open book, open note. The only thing that's not open is your neighbor. Do not collaborate with a fellow student when taking the quizzes, okay? All right. Quizzes are generally true, false, and best answer. There are no essay type of fill in the blank, written type of quizzes. Kind of defeats the purpose. Okay. So that's week one, okay? And week two, you'll see as I'm scrolling through Moodle, very much the same. There's your PowerPoint slides, discussion, self-reflective summary, quiz. Slides, discussion, self-reflective summary, quiz. Slides, discussion forum, self-reflective summary, quiz, okay? So get all the way down into March. That seems like a lifetime away, doesn't it? All those are going to happen, and you're going to upload your leadership effectiveness. Excuse me. A frog in my throat. All right, you're going to upload your leadership effectiveness paper. Since we are an online course, do not worry about the visual aid presentation. We only do that for seated. So you turn in your paper, and there are some specific things that you need to put in this paper. So make sure you read these instructions carefully. I will include these in the weekly assignment instructions. You'll see it under a section of what's not due that particular week, but just a heads up. The more that you look at this now and anticipate what you're writing your paper on in week 8, the better I think you're going to be prepared to write, because you can start influencing now what that paper is going to look like, okay, by doing the self-reflective self-insight exams and knowing what ultimately you're going to get to, okay? All right, so it's 5:30. Nobody's dialed in. And again, not a problem. So what I'm going to do here is sign off. Next week, I'll probably make it a full 40 minutes. And, well, I'll make it probably 35 here tonight. Now let's go ahead and sign off. Excuse me. Anyway, I appreciate everybody's attention. Again, you have my contact information. More information about your instructor. As I said in the welcome letter, and as it hopefully pulls up here, your course is a foundational course. You got to keep coming back to this material time and again. Future courses, teamwork, conflict managing or leading conflict, leading change, these all expand on concepts you're going to learn in the LDR 300 text. I'm nodding because I've got it over here on my right. Okay. So the more you get in the text, the more you can use it, the better off you will be. Okay, good. I want you all to know that I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 8 weeks, next 2 months. If we don't have some fun with this, we're doing it wrong. So as I said in the letter, take a breath, get your textbook, and let's get ready to work. Okay? And just remember, my job is to get you through it. You'll do the work. My job is to help you get through it. The only way you fail my course is if you don't do the work. All right? In the end, you're doing this for a reason. Hold on to that reason. If it was easy, anybody could do it, which wouldn't make it as special. I appreciate the challenges and demands on your time. Believe me, I've been where you're at. Okay. In many cases, if we need to communicate on certain issues, let's do that up front before it becomes a problem, and let's work together. Okay. All right. Thank you again. Wish you all the best, and we'll get started. See what you come up with tomorrow in your discussion.